So hey guys, it's that time of month again for reviewing and ranking books. Honestly, I did yesterday's video thinking that September had 31 days in it, but it's only 30. And I was like, crap, I'm so dumb for not realizing that September didn't have 31 days in it. It just had 30. But anyway, today is also my friend's birthday, so happy birthday to her. You know who you are if you're watching this video. So let's just get right into these books because we need like a ranking video at least. Okay, so the first is Red Rover. I thought this book was really interesting, but like when you read the back of the book, it seems upsetting, but just know that this dog is not a normal dog. It can read people's minds and it's very evil in the book. So yeah, it was a good book though. I really enjoyed it, and I'll tell you what it says on the back because I need to start doing that because I keep forgetting to do that. It says they shouldn't have stopped the car. When Amy sees a dog stranded on the side of the highway, she knows what she has to do. She tells her dad to stop the car. She doesn't understand why anyone would abandon a dog in such a way, tied up and blindfolded. Amy's parents say they'll only keep the dog until they can find him a new home. Excuse me. Sorry. Amy's younger sister names the dog Rover. They take Rover into their house, their family, and once he's there, he doesn't want to leave. Amy loves dogs, but she starts to worry when strange things begin to happen in the house. Objects move, lights go off, accidents happen. Soon the man's best friend has turned into Amy's worst nightmare. The problem isn't Rover's bark or his bite. It's even creepier than that. This dog's purpose is evil, and it's waiting to be unleashed. So, I don't want to give like any spoilers away, so I suggest you read it. But I will say that this dog is not a normal dog, so go read it for yourself. Okay, so this one's called Deanie. It was interesting, I will say. Basically, without even reading the book, I'll just summarize it, or reading the back of the book, I'll just summarize it. This woman forced her daughter, Deanie, to become like a model and stuff, even though she didn't want to be a model. And she unfortunately gets diagnosed with scoliosis. So, I can't remember if it said Judy Blume herself had it or if she was inspired by somebody that had it, but it's basically that kind of story. It was really interesting. It was very sad and heartbreaking for this young girl in the book because I can't remember how old she was, but she was pretty young and she has scoliosis. Sorry that I heard something. Anyway, next is Blubber. I can relate to this because I was bullied, and this book is just like all about bullying and stuff, and they called this girl a fat girl named Blubber throughout the book. That's why it's called this. I think this is a good book, but I hate that this girl didn't see the error of her ways and didn't befriend the girl that they were bullying. That's the only thing that I don't like about this book. Like, I feel like the girl should have like become friends with Lisa, or not Lisa, Linda, about the end of this book. And there's a lot of bullying going on and involved in this book. So if you are like triggered by bullying, I wouldn't read this book, but this is what this book is about basically. It's really heartbreaking, but it was a good book. It was really good. The Opposite of Love. Okay, so the thing about this book is I thought, again, that it was just going to be like another romance book, but then she disappears for a while, and he doesn't see her for quite a while, and they get together, they break up, and just a lot of crazy stuff happens, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody in case they want to read it, so that's all I'll say on that. Okay, this is a cute book. I really enjoyed this. It's basically, it says Bad Pets, Hall of Shame or something like that. And it's basically where pets do some really crazy things. Like, there's a story about dogs that eat engagement rings. There's a dog that ate money. And that's why they're called bed pets, and they're in this book. It's a really cute book. Check it out. Okay, so I didn't know this book existed until recently. Shark Night. Oh my god, it was so interesting. And it has pictures in there too. So if you want like a book that has like pictures and is easy to read, I would suggest this book 100%. It was such a good book. I wouldn't say it's as good as Goosebumps, but it is pretty good. Next we have a Goosebumps book, of course, because I love Goosebumps. Deep Trouble 2. Obviously, it's basically about like sea creatures and stuff, and like dead pirates that are skeletons at this point in the book that they encounter, and it's just an overly interesting book. I would say definitely give this a read too. If you love R.L. Stine like me, give it a read. Okay, and I got this book for my birthday, by the way. I forgot. Shark Night, I got that for my birthday. I also got this for my birthday, and I already read it. It's a really good book. It's called Kill the Beast, and it's basically about Gaston's story. And this, I kind of like figured this out by myself before this book even came out, but I feel like Gaston and the Beast were friends at one time, and this book proves that they were, because I saw something in Gaston's eyes in like the Beauty and the Beast, like he recognized the Beast, you know, in his human form. Oh, well, before he turned back into his human form, I feel like Gaston gave him a look like he remembered who it was. And this book kind of makes you feel more sympathy towards Gaston, because Gaston had a hard life, you know. But he also lived in a castle sometimes and had his own estate and cottage and whatever. So his backstory is tragic, but it's not as tragic as some of the other ones that I have read. And I'm pretty sure these books are canon for sure, honestly. Okay, so this one reminds me of Goosebumps, but it's not. It's called Monster Street, The Halloweeners. It was really cute. I enjoyed it. You know, I should have saved this book from like maybe around Halloween, but I just couldn't help it. I had actually bought it before we went on our vacation to Crystal Beach / Galveston. So it was really cute. The Beast from the East. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this part fell off. Just ignore that. But it is called The Beast from the East. I remember reading this book like a long time ago. It's so funny. I love the ending. It's a good book. I mean, it's not funny, but it is funny a little bit, you know. It's a good book. Next we got Goosebumps, House of Shivers, scariest book ever. Basically, they're trying to protect like the scariest book ever, even though like there's so many confusing things about this book. You'll just have to read it because I don't want to spoil it, but it's like they go to visit their uncle because their parents are going somewhere. I forgot where they were going, but yeah. And they meet all kinds of crazy creatures in the woods and stuff. So yeah, it's a really good book. I'd check it out if I were you. But that's just my opinion. And sorry that the dryer just went off. This is Nancy Drew, Dangerous Relations. It was pretty interesting. It wasn't one of my favorite Nancy Drew Files books, but I did like it a little bit, you know. But basically, she goes to Sarasota, Florida, and she's trying to help this girl find her father, her biological father, because she was adopted. And her stepdad, unfortunately, had, like, passed away in the book. So she's trying to find her dad. So, yeah. Okay, so now for the ranking. Honestly, even though I did kind of enjoy this book, it wasn't my favorite this month. So I would have to put this one as last. Next would be Blubber. As much as I can relate to this book, I don't know. It wasn't that bad of a book, but it wasn't my favorite either. So that's why it's a little bit lower on my ranking list. Then we got Deanie. As much as I learned a lot about, like her condition and stuff, it just really saddened me that this little teenage girl, I'm pretty sure she was a teenager. Maybe she wasn't. I really don't remember, honestly. Actually, I think she was in middle school. I don't know. This book confused me a little bit because I'm like, is she in high school? Is she a middle schooler? I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's why these two are so low on my list, because it's driving me nuts. Let's see. Next we have this book. As much as I love R.L. Stine, this one was not my favorite by him at all, but I did enjoy it. I will say that. I did enjoy it. It was pretty interesting. Next we have Nancy Drew, which I'm sure a lot of people are surprised. This one is not one of my favorite Nancy Drew Files book, but I did enjoy it. It was a fun read, but it just wasn't my favorite. I don't know. I just don't really care for like the circus plot, I guess you could say. Next would be Bad Pets. I do think like pets make mistakes just like humans do, but I wouldn't necessarily give them the title Bad Pets because they don't understand that they did something wrong, Okay, let's see. Next we have Red Rover. This book was very, very good. It was so interesting. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and I wanted to read it. But again, it was like, I could probably like live without reading it again, because I've already read it once, and I already know the mystery behind it. So, yeah. So that's kind of how I feel about that. Next, we have Deep Trouble 2. I find this one super fun to read again and again and again, but I just feel like some of the chapters were a little bit cheesy, if you know what I mean, and kind of repetitive a little bit, so that's why it's kind of lower on my list. Next we have Halloweeners. I thought it was a cute story. I like how they all bonded at the end, but it just seems really like similar to Goosebumps. Not that it's this author's fault, because this book is good. It just reminds me of Goosebumps. It makes me want to read Goosebumps more than these books, Monster Street. But this is a good book. I'm pretty sure the rest of them are good too. Next we have The Beast from the East. This is my third ranking of the book. So this is number 3, by the way. So if you've been keeping count, it's my third book of the century. I really love R.L. Stine, and I love this book. It was just so fun to read. It kept me on the edge of my seat again, and I'm like, gosh, I just want to finish this book because it's such a good book, Next will be Shark Night. As much fun as this book was, I would have to say it's like my secret favorite that I've read this month, because it's just the Gaston story, which we'll get to in a minute. It was more interesting and more fun to read. But this book was super, super fun to read. It's brand new, by the way. Like, I didn't know it existed until I went to Barnes & Noble. But I got it for my birthday. And it was a good birthday gift, because I'm like, yeah, Mom, this is what I want, Because when she asked me what I wanted, I'm like, I really don't know. And then I went to Barnes & Noble, and I found this book and the Gaston book, so I'm like, yeah, I want to try something besides Goosebumps, because I do love R.L. Stine, and I do love, like, Fear Street and all that, and, like, the Babysitter series and stuff, but this book was really good. It was a good break from, like, the Goosebumps books that I was reading quite a bit, and I'm still going to read Goosebumps, don't get me wrong, but it was a nice break from the Goosebumps world. And Kill the Beast was personally my favorite. Out of all the books I've read, you really sympathize with Gaston. You really learn more about his backstory and how he became what he became. And obviously, if you haven't read the series, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are some people involved that make him the way he is and make the villains the way they are in their stories. I just feel like these books are so good, and they're just so canon to me. I don't know. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I didn't know it was out until I went to Barnes & Noble. Again, I got this for my birthday, which, by the way, was September 12th, which I don't think I actually uploaded on my birthday. I don't know. I can't remember. But, yeah, so that's what I decided on my rankings. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I can't wait for Halloween. I'm going to be doing some stuff. I got stuff planned. Anyway, I'm going to go. Bye, guys.